The Napoleonic Wars, a conflict so massive that it's been called the first modern war, fought between 1803 and 1815, primarily in Europe, but also in North Africa and the Caribbean. It involved almost every country in the world at one point or another and resulted in an estimated 6 million deaths. The wars began when Napoleon seized control of France in a coup d'etat, overthrowing the weak government of the Directory and establishing the consulate with himself as first consul. With his power consolidated, Napoleon's next move was to conquer neighboring Italy and defeat Austria, which he did with ease. Seeing this as a great opportunity to get rich, he then ordered the invasion of Egypt, hoping to capture the riches of the Ottoman Empire. But this ended up being a disaster, as his army was defeated by the British. While Napoleon was away, the British and the Dutch invaded and occupied many French territories, prompting Napoleon to escape back to France and take the throne. With France now at war with most of Europe, Napoleon began a series of brilliant military campaigns, defeating the Austrians again and again and conquering much of northern Italy. He then turned his attention to Spain, which was ruled by his sister, Josephia, and her husband, King Louis. But after he deposed them both and took the throne for himself, the Spanish people rose up against him in a guerrilla war that would become one of the longest conflicts of the entire Napoleonic era. Meanwhile, in the east, the Russians had formed an alliance with the Ottomans and were marching on France. But before they could get there, they were defeated by Napoleon at the Battle of Waterloo. With the Russians out of the way, Napoleon's next target was Prussia, which he defeated at the Battle of Jena. But this victory came at a cost, as it led to the end of the Franco-Russian alliance and the entry of Sweden and Denmark into the war on the side of the anti-Napoleon coalition. In the meantime, the Spanish guerrillas had taken the fight to Napoleon's doorstep, forcing him to abandon his plans to invade Britain and instead focus on putting down this rebellion. And although he was successful in doing so, the war was far from over, because in the east, the Russians were preparing for one last stand against Napoleon. They would get their chance when Napoleon's brother, Joseph, invaded Russia in 1812 with an army of 600,000 men. But within 2 months, the entire army was wiped out. With Russia out of the picture, it seemed like Napoleon was finally ready to invade Britain. But this attempt failed, and instead led to the end of the Napoleonic Wars and the Congress of Vienna, which redrew the map of Europe and set the stage for the next 100 years of European history. For more on the Congress of Vienna, stay tuned.